All right, I don't need you. You can go over there. So, harvest, that is what we're here for. It is our harvest parade. And it is a time to stop and remember all the things that we have. So what I want you to do is turn to the person next to you, and I want you to list as many things as you can within 10 seconds. You don't have to wait for the other person, just talk over them, and just list as many things you can that you have in 10 seconds. Are you ready? Steady, go. Okay, hold it there. That was a little bit more than 10 seconds. Okay, how many of you mentioned 5 things? Put your hands up if you've got 5. Put your hand up if you mentioned 10 things. Put your hand up if you mentioned 15 things. These are the fast talkers here, okay? If you've got 20, if you've got 30, right, there's a lot of fast. If you've got 50, don't believe you. Okay, so we have many things, and probably more than we can remember or that we can even list. But everything we have is ultimately a gift from God. And even though we may say that, oh, this is mine, or oh, I did this in order to get this, all the things that we have received are reliant on a long chain of people. So, I mean, like the tuna, for example. I can't say, oh, I went to the shop and I got that tuna. No, because a fisherman had to go out and then spend time to catch the fish and then bring it back. And then you've got the people who have to process the fish. You see, so there's a very, very long chain of people. But when you trace that train back, sorry, can't get my words out. When you trace that chain back, it always begins with God's gifts. And so harvest, as we said before, is a good time to be reminded that our God is a God of our whole lives. And he is the one who supplies everything. So just let that sit in that bit. That harvest is a good time to be reminded that our God is the God of our whole lives. Not just little bits, but for the whole thing. He is our whole lives. And he is the one who supplies everything. And when we begin to realize this, when we start to properly stop and look at everything we have access to, everything that we've been given, is the result of God's gifts. And our response to that ought to be one of gratitude towards God, which is how Paul ends this chapter. You may have heard me and Matt shout thank you a few times, for those of you who are listening. And he ends this chapter with a shout of praise. He says, thanks be to God for his indescribable gift. And God's giving to us is literally indescribable. It is so lavish, so unending. He just continually gives gifts. He can't stop giving. He is the God who gives. And not only does God provide for our own physical needs, but even went as far as sending the gift of his only Son to save us by his grace on the cross. And so take a moment, have a look at the cross, because that cross is the greatest gift we can receive. If we don't have that cross, we have nothing. So just take a moment, have a look, because the greatest gift, doesn't matter what your gift is, you go, this is the best thing ever. That right there is always the best gift you will ever receive. And so this is truly worthy of our gratitude. But it's easy to forget to be grateful, especially in the fast-paced living world in which we live in. Sometimes you don't have enough time to have a couple of minutes to yourself. And it's just work now. We can't just leave work at work. Work follows us home. Everything just gets fast-paced. It's like, when do I just have a couple of minutes to myself? Some of you parents can feel that when you have children. When can I get a couple of minutes to myself? Even the toilet, I'm told, is no longer a safe place. You get the child on the door. But the busier we become, the harder it is to stop and count our blessings and express thanks to God. And there is scientific evidence, I've done my research, there is scientific evidence that gratitude has benefits for our emotional and physical health, for our relationships, and even helps people sleep better. So, if you're not sleeping well, listen in. So, gratitude improves our psychological health as well. It reduces a multitude of toxic emotions, ranging from envy and resentment to frustration and regret. And multiple studies have been done and conducted, and they have done a link between gratitude and well-being. And the result confirms that gratitude effectively increases happiness. So gratitude effectively increases happiness. So the more grateful you are, the happier you become, because you become more content. And so therefore it reduces the things of envy and resentment and frustration and regret, because you are more grateful for what you do have. But more importantly, being thankful puts God back in his rightful place as the source, provider, and the creator of our lives. And gratitude grows generosity. One of the major themes you may have been picking up from this passage is just that. And so we look at this passage about giving as if it was a business transaction. If I give this much, how much will I get back? Or if I give this to God, how much will he then pay out? And Christian giving is not like this, or at least it shouldn't be like this. As Christians, it should be that we give coming from knowing that God is the God over all life, and he has been abundantly generous towards us, and everything is his, not ours. So everything we have, although we may have worked hard from it, it's God's gifts. It all belongs to God. So if we have that mindset where this isn't mine to hold on to, this is God's, and actually, you know what, if I give this to someone else, this will be a blessing to them. And that's what it's all about, because God just keeps giving. And so when that moves from our heads to our hearts, when we can get our heads around that, because that's a really difficult thing, it produces free, abundant, and grateful giving. It becomes the overflow of thankful hearts that simply want to get involved in the lavish generosity of God. Because how blessed are we? You know, how many things did you list so very quickly? And how amazing would it be to get involved with what God's doing? He's blessed us with this, so how could I bless it towards someone else? And when we give from this attitude, we create space for God to continue to provide for us. As Paul writes, you will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. So you will be enriched in every way so that you can be generous on every occasion. And notice that this is not just receiving money or talking about money, but it's receiving abundant and enriching flow of God's generosity, contentment, kindness, and continued provision. And I love that bit about it's the contentment. Because if we are content with what we have, we stop looking at what other people have. We start to become more satisfied with the things we have, because we can always look at our neighbor and go, well, I wish I had this, or they've got that. Stop looking at what others have and be content with what you do have. And then it reduces everything that we've already mentioned. And our act of giving is not just finances, but it could be our time, it could be our resources, it can be our gifts. Like the band here, they are very talented, gifted through singing, playing the musical instruments. You wouldn't want me there. You just wouldn't. And be grateful for that. That's not my gift. Even the triangle, I have not yet mastered, but we're getting there. But more importantly, it means that other people's needs are met. Now, I got my 4 helpers lined up. So if you want to come on up, you 3. Sam, that's you as well. Yeah, come on up here. Give them a round of applause. They're a bit shy, these lot, so it takes a lot to get up here. Lovely. Right. If you want to sit there, facing this way, if you want to come this way, sit down there, you turn around. And Matt, if you want to go. No, turn around. We planned this through. It's really good. You turn around. You turn round. There we go, we're getting there. And then Matt, you face me, go that way. Okay, right. What you need to do is you need to lean back on the other person's legs. So lean back, get comfortable, lean back, lean back, lean back. Luckily, I chose people, so if this goes wrong, it's fine. Okay, so just lift your bum ever so slightly. Okay, hold it there. Hold your bum up ever so slightly. That's it. Use the other mat. There we go. There we go. Hold it. Hold it. Oh, I didn't think this one through, did I? I was trying to be good on space. Okay. Holding it. There we go. How you guys doing? You doing all right? Doing well? Lovely. Okay. So, this is showing how we support each other. So, there you go. Okay, so they are all reliant on the other person, okay? They're not thinking about themselves, because if they start thinking about themselves, it all falls down. So, Matt, if you were to sit up to think about yourself, sit up to think about yourself, it then all collapses. Okay, thank you. You can go on up. Thank you. And two of them say they go to the gym, so I was giving them a free workout. So that was just a simple demonstration to show generosity and the needs, meeting the needs of the other people around us. So as they were giving a need to the other person, they themselves were then being looked after. So they weren't going, oh, I've got to think and look after myself. No, it's okay, because if I'm giving to this person, it all goes round, and eventually it comes back towards us. And so there's no doubt, and we don't have to look far to see that there are the needs of the people in our community and in our world. There's loads going on at the moment, which those needs may only be met when we have joined in with our generous God in giving from what we have received. But above all, giving from a place of gratitude is of itself an act of worship, because we're going, God, this is yours, and I want to give it to someone else to be blessed. I've been blessed through what you've given me, and I know that this will go on to bless someone else. And then giving to others is an expression of that thanks and praise. And giving can and does communicate the very heart of the gospel. So when we give, and when our giving is motivated by gratitude for God's generosity, other people will catch a glimpse of what the gospel means to you. And it will lead them to praise God for themselves. And that's what Paul wrote. He said, when you give, it leads other people to giving thanks. And it's the easiest way to talk about the gospel. You hear many versions of it. But this is a really simple way. God gives generously. And so that should be reflected in what we do as well. So 3 points to take away from this. The first is that we are to be grounded in gratitude. Everything we have should stem from that. Because when we're grounded in gratitude, gratitude grows generosity. And thirdly, gratitude is an act of worship to God, who supplies and provides all of those things that we need. Amen. So we're going to head into a time of worship for our response. And the song is called Jesus Be the Center, so it's an apt name for what we've been talking about. And so what I'd like to do is to take the opportunity whilst this worship song is playing and just think where you can generously give. Think about the needs of those around you in your community, your workplace, wherever it might be in your life. Think, where can you give? Be that your time, your resources, your giftings, or your finances. In what way can you be a generous giver in your life?